Hello and welcome to Faith Matters. This is the programme where we look at Liverpool life through the prism of faith and belief. You can email your comments and suggestions to us at faithmatters@baytvliverpool.com. Our guests today are Ellen Loudon, Vicar of St Luke's Church, right next to the hallowed ground of Goodison Park, and Paul Wharton from the EFC Heritage Society, and Anne Asquith from the Relateros Society. I've got that right. Earlier this week, we dropped into St Luke's to talk to Ellen and to look at the Memorial Garden. Here's a short feature.
We're in St Luke's at the moment, and St Luke's was, this particular building, the foundation stone was laid in 1899, so it's an Edwardian church. And it was here. There was a tin shed here before the football club was here, but the current building was built just after the football club had moved here. So we're right in the corner between Goodison Road and Gladys Street, right in the corner of that area of Walton. So it's two sets of communities really. A parish that's here all the time, so a parish of about 6,500 people. And it's quite a challenging area. There's lots of quite complex needs within the parish, quite a lot of poverty. So the church is trying to serve the people of this parish day to day and the way that they live and supporting them in the way that they live here. But then there's the other community that St Luke serves, which is the football community. So when there's a football match here, it's a completely different set of people that come to visit us. And we serve tea before a match. So we have about 2.5 hours before a match, we put the kettles on and we serve tea to all the people that are coming past, going into Gladys Street stand or into the Goodison main stand. And upstairs we have the Heritage Society, Everton's Heritage Society, and they have an exhibition there. And it's like carnival on match days. Thousands of people, so going from a small parish of 6.5 to a mighty big parish of anything up to 40,000 people coming by. Outside of St Luke's in the back garden, we have a remembrance garden. And in this garden are the ashes of people from our parish, but also the ashes of Evertonians whose families would like them to be placed into an area that's very close to Goodison Park. Before 2004, the ashes could be scattered around Goodison Park, around the pitch. But in 2004, the previous incumbent, Harry Ross, realised that actually now that couldn't happen, it would be good to be able to place ashes here in St Luke's as a reasonable alternative, but also to serve the people of the parish. So for people from our congregation and outside of the congregation, for their ashes to be placed there. So we've got quite a large number of people whose ashes are now in our garden, and that means that on match days people can come and visit the garden and remember their loved ones who have died, but also that members of our congregation can come on Sundays. And we do get a lot of visitors. So people come from far and wide, special occasions to remember the people that are in the garden, and there are a series of plaques. But it's incredibly close to Goodison. It's surrounded, the garden, on two sides by Goodison and on one side by the church. And it's an amazing place. And on match days it's particularly remarkable. You get a peaceful sense in the garden, even though you've got the massive crowds of Goodison exploding when there's a goal or when Zegcars is played or when the players come onto the pitch. And it's an extraordinary place to be, a real tranquil, serene, peaceful place, a place to remember loved ones, but also to just spend some time and just chill out and enjoy the sunshine of Walton.
Well, Ellen, thanks for that, and thanks for inviting us down to St Luke's. Time to come clean. Have you always been a true blue, or is this an identity you've taken on since taking the role as Vicar of St Luke's?
Not entirely. It's been a slow build. Before I was the Vicar at St Luke's, I was a curate in Everton, just up the road. And my training incumbent there was Henry Corbett, and he's a blue. So it's been a slow build, but yeah, I guess I'm an adopted blue.
That's a bit kind of that sounds like a very Liverpool thing, that Liverpool loves to adopt.
Indeed, and I think once you've been, once you've been adopted, you've been adopted properly into the family, and you're well and truly a Blue, I think.
Absolutely. So do you get a season ticket with this?
No, I don't get a season ticket, but I can go to. The club's very kind to me, and when I would like to go to see a match, I can go over and see a match, and I suppose I go about 5-7 times in the season.
Okay. So do you have a kind of chaplaincy role there?
No, don't have a chaplaincy role, but the clubs, because the club's in our parish, it's very much that I'm the vicar of the parish. So they're in the parish. So if they need me, they know where I am, in the church next door.
Do you get to meet players and hobnob with the stars? Any of that?
Well, I have done. I've been over and to meet a few, and we have a Christmas service, and sometimes they come over for the Christmas service. And Roberto Martinez has been over to visit us and to visit the Heritage Society, and that was really lovely when he came over. So yeah, we do meet them. But...
And you prayed for him, obviously, because he needs it. Just the thing that you do for the fans on match days. That's not just for home fans, is it?
No, it isn't. No, we're open before the match. For anybody who's coming to the match, it's like a dry bar, so it's a really good place.
Like
the brink of Walton for Everton and away fans, which is great because they're able to come and meet and mingle with other people who are going to the match.
And there's always a good atmosphere.
Absolutely fantastic atmosphere.
Yeah, no argy-bargy. You don't have to sort of separate anybody or anything like that.
No, it's really. I mean, we also serve teas for the police, which I suppose is quite a grounding atmosphere for everybody. But the teas and the atmosphere in the church beforehand is fantastic, because we've not just got the tea downstairs, but we've also got the Heritage Society upstairs, which provide particular kind of exhibitions. I'm sure Paul can talk better about what goes on upstairs for away fans. Yeah,
tell us about that, Paul.
Yeah, we have a display on every opposition who we play throughout the season. We're there every home game. We have a DVD of all the goals that are played between the two sets of sides, and we just have countless of articles of Everton's history going right back from the founding fathers of Merseyside football, from the St Domingo days. And the atmosphere is really good. We had some Swansea fans in not so long ago. Well, they came 3 times over the last year since we've been in there. And they said, "Oh, it's fantastic in here. I wish we had something like that down in Swansea."
That's great, and that is another great way for the church to serve the community by hosting.
It is a brilliant exhibition, and it changes, but it's also got stories that are kind of everlasting, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. There's programmes that for sale, and it's just great. It's brilliant up there.
The programmes we just put out on Toffee Web and Blue Kipper in the Echo articles. If you're throwing anything out, don't throw them out. Give them to us, and we can sell them for £1, and it goes into our fund then, so we can do projects.
Anne, tell us about the Realiteros Society. Sounds very exotic.
Well, Chilean, if that's exotic enough for you. Yeah. Basically, the Realiteros Society was founded by John Sheeran, who is an Evertonian, who is also a sort of South American expert in terms of language and knowledge and football knowledge of that continent. And John had visited Chile as a student, and he'd visited a place called Viña del Mar because he heard there was an Everton playing there and he wanted to know more about it. Basically, it turned out that Everton had been formed in Chile in 1909 when Everton from Liverpool had been on a trip to Argentina and Uruguay with Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur, played several games there, and some Anglo-Chilean lads of 14, 15 had heard about this, and they thought they'd form a football club, and they decided to call it Everton.
And do they play in blue?
And they play in... Yes, gold and blue. Gold and sky, they call it. Yeah. Again, there's an apocryphal tale that they didn't know what colours they were going to be playing in, so they said, okay, the next ship to come into Valparaiso Harbour, depending on what the nationality is, and it was a Swedish ship.
Okay,
So,
and briefly, there's a church connection here, South
there
American
is a
Mission
church
Society,
connection. Yes.
Anglican connection.
Yeah, there was quite an English population in Valparaiso. Of course, lots of connections to Liverpool for the shipping and so on. But there is still a church called St John's. It's
I'm going to have
church.
to stop you there, because we're going to our commercial break, but we'll come back to that when we return.
Sorry.
That's great. Well, welcome back to Faith Matters. And picking up where I rudely interrupted you, just tell us about the church. You were telling us about the church connection with the team in Chile.
Yes, St John's Church in Valparaiso is an English church, an Anglican church, which was originally, I presume, built for the population, the English population there, and they still worship there. We visited Chile, 5 of us, in 2009 to celebrate the centenary of Everton in Chile, and they entertained us to a concert in the church, which was magnificent. It was lovely, and it was the last piece of music played was Zedcars, which they had actually, the organist had transcribed from the internet and played for us, which was fantastic.
Oh, were you there, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was there as well. It's really good.
Sounds good.
They also have memorial tablets to two of the CD Everton players who were killed in the First World War.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which, again, is just a nice little connection.
On the Somme, they got killed.
On the Somme, yeah. Okay, picking up on this whole thing about football, it is said, I've heard it said and seen it written so many times, football is a religion in Liverpool. Is that a blasphemous statement?
I don't know that it is really. It's and I'm not sure that it is a religion in that sense. It's not. It's just practiced in a very particular way. I mean, people take it very seriously. It's great fun, and it's a really important thing to people. I'm not sure that it's a blasphemy. It's an interesting kind of use of the language, but I'm not sure it's a blasphemy.
And can you be a fan of Jesus and a fan of Everton at the same time? What do you think, guys?
I think so, yeah.
Well, just to play on words, we used to sing Bobby Latford walked on water.
Did you? Yeah. So you can be both, of course. Obviously you can. Yeah. But can you be a fan of the Reds and a fan of Jesus? Or maybe I ought not to answer that question.
I don't think now's the time to try and answer that question.
Okay. This week just gone, it was announced that Sky and BT paid the Premier League a combined $5.136 billion for the live TV rights deal. I mean, that is an astronomical sum of money. There's just so much money now in professional football, and particularly in Premier League football. Is professional football too wealthy, Paul? Well,
the ordinary man in the street will say yes, without a doubt. If you look back into the history, like when Dixie Dean was playing, he was getting like £8 a week, and maybe a tradesman was getting maybe £2. So it's just gone right out into the stratosphere now, hasn't it? With what people are earning and what they're earning, and they seem to be they're a bit away from the normal people now. They're living in big houses, I suppose, and they don't have that community sense that way. It's not. Is it still the working class game that it once was? Do you think? Well, people struggle, don't they? People struggle going the game, paying its very high cost. Everton have done very well. They tried to keep the prices down for the under 11s to about £99, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, I just now going to keep the season ticket the same price as last year.
And you can still get a ticket to Everton, can't you? You can. If you ring up. Yep. I mean, I have. You can ring up and get a ticket, whereas some other clubs that maybe we won't mention, it's harder to get tickets for. It's okay to mention Manchester United, yeah. Right, okay, yeah. It would be hard to get a ticket for Manchester United.
Yeah. It's getting more and more difficult, and that is because we're selling more season tickets. I mean, when I started going to the games back in the 50s, very few people had season tickets, in my experience anyway. You just paid as you went in, paid on the turnstiles. You couldn't do that these days. You need to, book your ticket well in advance, as they say.
And the clubs it's big business. They're big businesses in themselves, aren't they? Yeah, and Ellen, is the church at the moment, we're hearing, even today I read a report in The Guardian about a critique from church leadership about business and the role of business and the way the business should be conducted. What does the church, do you think, has to say to, these questions around the wealth of professional football?
I think it is really tricky because you have a football club earning that much money in what is quite a deprived area of the city, and I think that you can see the difficulties that brings up for people. I think that football clubs and big businesses do have a responsibility to the people and the places that they live and exist in. And I think to a certain extent Everton does that. They work hard with Everton in the community, and there is some important work going on. But I do think we can all do more. And I think when you look at Walton in particular and the place where Goodison is, I think there is a challenge to big business and to the football club to set those things well, to do the work well, and to be focused on their communities and the challenges of those communities. And
you've got the CEO sleep out at Goodison. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the idea is that in March people get to sleep out in Goodison and to raise money for the Church Urban Fund and for homeless charities. I suppose those of us who are incredibly blessed to have homes and a roof over our head can't imagine what it's like to be out on the street. And to spend one night out on Goodison is hardly
you're actually sleeping on the pitch?
I don't know that we'll be actually sleeping on the pitch.
Right, okay.
But we will be close to the pitch, if not on the pitch.
Okay. Because you might get lots of people claiming that they're chief executives.
Yes. No, I think we're sleeping in the club, at the club. And the idea is that my aim is to try and raise £1,000 for the Church Urban Fund and for homeless charities.
And who have you got sleeping out so far?
I think the Bishop of Liverpool, Paul Bayes, is sleeping out. One of the chief executives from the football club. Are you sleeping out, Paul?
I haven't been invited yet.
You are now.
We'll see.
I think there's quite a lot of people sleeping out now, aren't there? Are you sleeping out?
No, I'm busy on that day actually, but otherwise I would do. Maybe next year. And okay, and so what do you think the club can do to make the game more accessible for the kind of people who live around the ground, who've always been historically, the base of the fans, as it were?
Well, I think they could have a reduction in the prices. Definitely, especially with all this money, as you said, that's just going to come into the game in the next couple of years. But as I say, Everton are pretty good. They try to keep it. They've frozen it for a couple of years now. So, but just going back to the Everton in the community, the 27 years old this time. But I don't think they are. 1896, they were having soup kitchens around the community.
What, funded by the club?
Yeah. And that goes back to the people who were on the board who were from St. Domingo, the church, the Methodist church. And they brought their beliefs and morals into the club. And they were always trying to look after the players and look after the community when they could.
So it's got a Methodist history. You were telling me that earlier. Yeah. Its founders were Methodist originally.
Yeah, from in Everton, St. Domingo Grove and that. So, and they came into the board, and that was when the split come within Everton. With John Holden, he wanted to have a limited company for just a few people, but the St. Domingo people wanted the community to be involved. So a big more of a shared issue.
Okay, just briefly before we come to the end of our programme, grassroots football. There's a campaign which is I think becoming a national campaign, but it started here in Liverpool to save. It's called Save Grassroots, hashtag Save Grassroots Football. Again, you know, you've got grounds, football grounds that, again, reported in the Echo, not far from Goodison, from Anfield, they're in a poor state of disrepair. You know, what do you think about that in the light of this great wealth that professional football has?
Well, I think it's between the clubs, the FA and the city councils, in any city, I think they've all got to come together and give proper facilities for young people.
The money has got to filter down. I mean, this is not new. It's been going on for 20 years or more, that the money has been congregating up at the top.
Because otherwise, I mean,
all they're interested in.
You don't get your Gerrards, you don't get your Rooneys, do you? Or the Jamie Carragher. They all started on those fields, didn't they?
Right.
It's not just the watching of football that's important in the city. I think the playing of football is really important. People don't just do it as a spectator sport. People do it, because they want to play, because they want to be out and meeting people and be part of a game.
It's a community, isn't
it?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. And not just the people who are playing, and it's not just boys playing. The girls' game.
Thank you. On that note, we're going to have to finish. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.